Hello, people. Good evening. I believe everybody was expecting some timer, but yes, towards the end, and I'm so excited today. So show me some love that you are able to hear me. You are able to uh, hear the sound perfect well, because I believe today you can feel a very, very different joy in my voice. And that's because like we have been able to successfully deliver all 7 days back to back, and it's Sunday. I can totally understand that. Yes, Sunday is always something which we plan for ourselves, but who knows, I just like borrowed your some of your time, and I believe, trust me, means if you are here and you are able to hear us, what values you will be able to drive today, you wouldn't have heard any single place. Trust me, means I believe since the day one, the commitment was always to share you the knowledge, share you the experience, what me and my friends at Red Hat, being the I should say, so software engineers, they have been showing to you all. I believe we talked about open source, we talked about the communities, we talked about the enterprise product, we talked about like the certifications, we talked about the day in the software engineer's life. We have talked about lot of things. And when I says that about a quote from William Arthur, he says that the mediocre teacher tells, the good teachers explain, the superior teachers demonstrate, and the great teachers inspire. And I believe the major quality of a leader is always reflected in the standards they set for themselves. And I believe me and my entire team has always committed to bring down the knowledge that is being learned by the experienced people working in that industry. So I was going through your comments, I was going through your comments in the videos and the personal text that you have been sharing during all the 6 days. And I thought that yes, there are few things that we have been able to provide you, being the open source contribution, how to get started with the open source, how to learn from the experience of others. If you are an aspiring person who wants to be in the Red Hat as a software engineers, what are the key things that we see in yourself or on your resume? And I thought that to end the strike, we need someone who can actually guide us, who can mentor us, that whenever the table like when his table is filled with those pile of resumes, how he filters it. And moreover, he's the one who has always taught me one thing. And I believe he has always brought that spark in me, a spark in me, which says that leadership is by choice, not by the position. And I still remember, means if you can see that this particular t-shirt, I feel very close to him, because when for the first time I met him, I was just standing on a DaveConf booth and I saw a guy standing out there. I started interacting with him, and I was not knowing that this person to whom I am interacting today would be a very, very good guide to me, a mentor to me, and moreover, he has treated me always like a friend. So when I reached out to him for any help or anything that I want to discuss, he has always been there to support me in any of the initiative which I have taken out of the box or out of the league. So he's the one who has always told me that it's not about an individual. It's all about the collaboration that you bring, and that is the key pillar of open source itself. So that's the reason this session is about me to we. मैं हमेशा उनसे पूछता था कि सर ये being a manager, don't you think that you always have a lot of challenges? So he always says that when you are in the manager position, or when you are in a position to lead someone, it's not always about yourself. ये मैं खत्म कर दो और मैं को पूरा उल्टा कर दो. अब मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा था, एंड व्हेन ही एक्चुअली एक्सप्लेन्ड कि यार ये उल्टा करना ये है, जब मी में आप एम को उल्टा करते हो, दैट इज ऑल अबाउट वी. So the thinking, the process that you are going through, if you see, if you want to lead, first of all, reverse the things, that it's not about me, it's about us. One quote from David, which actually explains the way he thinks and the way he is all about, is the quote from David Joseph, which says that think little goal and expect little achievements. Think big goals and win big success. And Today, I have one of our leaders with me. He is the manager of software engineering, specifically to the middleware team, Mr. Imran. Imran is a like highly dedicated worker for sure, I should say, and moreover, he his customer focused approach and the results oriented guidance has always been guiding a lot of students out there. And moreover, I see him as a true believer of together everyone achieves more, and that what I should say, the team, how the team should look like. So I'm so excited for this session. I hope you all are. Please shower some love as I bring Mr. Imran Khalidi on the screen. Hello Imran sir, welcome to Cheers with Gaurav. Cheers to you.
Hey Gaurav, thank you so much for having me here on this channel. Cheers.
Yes,
Hello, audience.
cheers
Good evening,
sir.
everyone.
Good evening sir. So sir, how it feels to be at Cheers with Gaurav for sure.
I'm very excited. I know this is my second time with you, Gaurav, here. I mean, at least with your sessions to all together with this audience. Back then it was on LinkedIn, but this time it is my first time on your YouTube channel. So, even more excited about that. So, great
Awesome,
going.
awesome.
I think you have a great audience out there. I'm really excited. I'm feeling honored to be part of this, discussion today here,
Honor is
and I'm
all mine,
trying
sir.
to help, anyone who can, get some knowledge out of this session today from us.
Definitely, definitely, sir. Means, first of all, I literally want to thank you because when I reached out to you for the help, that I want the entire team to come up over here, and I was able to select few of the associates. Definitely, I'm gonna reach out to the other team members also. But at this point of time, you helped me, you guide me in framing this entire session, and I should say, sir, your entire team was so kind and so open to share their experience, their learnings, which they have been going through. So
I'm glad to hear that, Gaurav. And it's been really an awesome week that I've been seeing on the channel. A lot of different varieties of discussions, not only about just open source, but different technologies. And I'm really feeling glad that it went really well and people have been liking it. Happy to have that been done by my
awesome.
team, actually.
Okay, sir. So, as in our Cheers with Gaurav and in this series called a Day in a Software Engine Life, we always pumped up into some of the regular questions for our viewers. So, very first question is, Imran sir, what according to you open source means? Please.
To me, open source is really, not keeping your source code of the software just open, right? It's about innovation out there, right?
Mhm.
Let's say when a proprietary company develops a software, right? You have a bunch of engineers who's been really contributing and working hard to develop that software. But when it comes to open source, it is out there for everyone in the public, which means there are so many thousands of developers, brightest minds in the world, who can literally come into the community and give their participation into the product, and your product can really get out into that innovation world, right? So I think, to me, open source is really nothing but more innovation, and of course, giving back to the community, of course. So by the way, you help and develop software and contribute to the community. It's really an innovation in a way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And innovation is always powered by the collaboration that we have always believed in, right?
Very
So,
true.
So, people, please feel free to put down your questions for Imran sir, whatever you want to ask regarding the interviews or regarding your personal advices, anything. We would love to take those questions. And as rightly said, that yes, we are going to do some good giveaways today because we have the man himself today, and why not to utilize that opportunity? So, guys, please feel free to comment in the comment section in the chat so we can take on the questions. Please feel free to raise your personal aspirations and all. So, Imran sir, according to you, means I want to ask first thing before this, all the viewers start putting down the questions. According to you, when you see any individual joining your team, what is that key ingredient you always search into that person?
To be honest, Gaurav, what I literally see, when I'm looking for a person is I look for their attitude rather than, for their skill set. Because what I
Mhm.
feel is technical skills is something that definitely can be trained, and a person can develop into that area. But having right soft skills and right attitude to do work and get gel with along with the team and to the culture along within the company, I think that's
Mhm.
really more important, and that's one of the key things that I actually look into when I start doing interviews for any position on my team.
Right, right, right. You rightly said. I believe the attitude is the most important part to demonstrate anything. And as I rightly said, that leadership is all about the actions you take. It's not about the point you want to take the decisions and get it started. So have you ever been encounter any situations where you thought that this is not the right way to get it started for yourself, but according to team, yes, that was the right decisions, you took it, and later on, or you realize that yes, that was not good for me, but yes, for the team. So how you deal with those situations?
That's a little tricky question and a very good question, Gaurav, that way. I mean, because collaboration, as you brought in, a really good word, right?
Yes.
Sometimes collaboration is also giving away what you think personally, right?
Hmm.
Collaboration is a togetherness and, a decision with based on everyone's consensus. Sometimes
Right.
we ourselves feel like too many things are really good for for whatever we are doing for, but when as a team we collaborate and we come to a consensus, I think sometimes you have to go away with what you really think is good, because there might be more brightest ideas that somebody else on the team might be coming up with. So
Yeah.
yes, it is not that easy. I have personally found it challenging to let my ideas go off and listen to somebody else's idea. But believe me, I have trained myself in a way to accept those ideas. And I always believed in, because this is coming through a collaboration. Of course, some of the brightest minds have come up with those ideas, so I've always trusted in their ideas and accepted that as a positive way. And I think, I never had a situation where I had to regret letting my own ideas go off and take somebody's ideas.
Yeah, and that is the most important part, I guess. I also learned this thing from you, that it's not always your ideas. It's all about the collaboration. Here's others, and I believe that can definitely bring a lot of change to the entire workflow that you are going through.
Absolutely,
Awesome.
absolutely, and that's why we value collaboration so much, right? And whether it be your personal life, whether it be your professional life, whether it be development, leadership, management, everywhere. I mean, there has to be collaboration. If it's
Right.
only you, then you are in a silo, only
Yes.
limited to your own knowledge, only limited to your own experiences. But when you collaborate, it's about the whole set of people that is giving you ideas, thoughts, their own experiences as well. So which brings in a lot
Mhm.
of different flavors and so many different things to the table that you can actually think of using.
Right, right, right. Absolutely correct, Imran sir. I believe there is a question coming out from the viewers, and he says, Rishabh says that Imran sir, everybody comes to a point in their career where the two road splits into two, and one need to make the choice between that two. What was the defining moment for you? How like has it turned out?
That's a very nice question, and I really had a very tough decision like that, Risha, for that matter. Back then when I was into my college days, I had a situation when I, completed my 12th. I was so passionate about getting into medical science. Right, I really had to go there, but there were a variety of different situations which was giving me a different path and to choose and get into non-medical stuff, like getting into engineering and maybe becoming a software engineer or so. But then yes, I really had to make that decision based on variety of stuff, right? My present condition back then, why I really had these two options, and why I was asked to get in there, but lose what you really want to do. So yeah, I mean, when you get to a moment there, you really have to look at what's going to be meaningful for you, and what's going to really help you out, because there's going to be a lot of people that you can collaborate with, hear their feedback and everything. But at times when it comes to a situation right now, there is only you who knows yourself better. Right. So making that choice should be based on those real factors that you think might impact your own life, your own personal situation that you are in, and how you see yourself going forward into that.
You are the
Sometimes
best
it
judge
is
of
easy to, yeah,
yourself.
sometimes it's easy to take that decision, right? Because your passion is in something else, but now you are being, because of situation, you're making a different choice. So
Yes.
it should not be just for the sake. So make sure when you get to that moment, whatever based on your situation, sometimes you have to change your ideas. I mean, yes, as I said, I always wanted to do medical sciences, but I had to choose engineering. Variety of different reasons, a long story behind it. But yes, when I got into engineering, software engineering, IT world, I'm made that my passion. Although
Mhm.
it was not my passion, but I got into it so much myself, and definitely made sure that it is my passion. Because one other thing that I believe in is, like, unless you have passion in something that you do, you really cannot succeed into that. So there are
Right,
going to be
right.
situations where you have to get into something that you really are not passionate about. But if you have that situation and get into that, my honest suggestion is that try and make that as a passion for yourself.
Right, right, right. And I guess, Imran sir, I follow upping that question from Rishabh. I'm curious to know about, like, back in days, like of 2001 and 2005, when you were in your engineering college. What was the culture around? Was at that particular time also these open source world was so buzzing, or like it was
In,
pretty much normal, Windows and all?
yeah, in fact, to be very frank, Gaurav, like, I come from a very small town, okay, northern part of Karnataka,
Yes.
wherein you had no, multinational companies even coming for, campus recruitments, or, no talks about what this multinational companies look alike, or what they look for, what is open source. To be frank, during my engineering first 3 years, I've not heard of anything as such. Right, we were only into that theoretical world of what engineering books teach, and what our lecturers used to teach us, what our professors used to show us practically. That was our only
Yes.
world, right? But then when I went into the final years of engineering, and we had to do
Mhm.
some project and stuff, my town was not a place where we could do that really. So we have
Yes.
seen our seniors going either to two locations, like either to Hyderabad, somewhere in Andhra Pradesh, and Bangalore was another location. So
Mhm.
although Hyderabad was very close, I've been always going there, and I've always heard that Bangalore was the location for IT people, like it was a hub for IT engineering and all that stuff. So I and some group of my friends, we decided that we'll do our project in Bangalore. But
Mhm.
believe me, when we came to Bangalore, we saw a all new world around engineering. Of course, we
Mhm.
also heard about open source. We also heard about Red Hat. We also heard about so many variety of things, like what is going on, because all that was so new and then. But definitely there was mentions about it, right? But not so much
Mhm.
of crowd pulling as to you really want to get on that side of the world. But that was already existing for there for sure, is what I can say.
Right, right, right. I'm still wondering that what I was doing in 2001 and 2005, when you have completed your engineering and you were still talking about open source, I guess. So my first encounter to open source was in 2012 when I started in college. Do you remember that when you for the first time encountered this world open source?
I think, yeah, as I said, in my final year of engineering, that was probably 2006. Yeah, 2006
Okay.
is when I completed my engineering, and then that's when I really heard about that.
Okay, awesome, sir. Means like 2016 and today we are sitting in 2021, 15 years
21, yeah.
celebration, I believe. Yes, man. So cheers to that to 15 years for sure now. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So people, please feel free to put your questions in the comment section and I'll try to take a few of them. Another question coming from our viewer, sir, like which says that if
Mhm.
suppose I start my career in Red Hat as a fresher, what are the key things I need to follow for successful in my career?
Great question. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people focus on, how can I get into Red Hat? What technology I can, get into to get into Red Hat, or a company like a Google or Microsoft. But I think, to be frank, this is a very good question. What I see is, what after you get in, right? Sometimes might be
Mhm.
getting in easy as well, but how do you really make yourself successful in your career after you getting into an organization? I think, I mean, what Red Hat really values, based on what I've seen, is really our culture. Where
Mhm.
a lot of things is really open. when we don't only say that our source code is open with our products, right? But we follow so many
Right.
different things which are open, like open discussions among the team, open collaboration, as I said, and then that's all so many different things part of our culture. So if you think you can gel and get into that culture, then you are going to be successful in Red Hat. And then the second thing is, you might yourself come with so many different thoughts and ideas and so many, innovative things in your mind. Do not keep it for yourself, right? Share it. What we in Red Hat generally believe, or I personally believe, is like, unless you share, you don't grow.
Right.
There's a big, thing that people believe in general is like, when you share, you don't really grow, right? But that's not the way. Trust me, you share and you definitely grow.
So
So,
being
so
open to
culture
discuss and
and
being
knowledge
open to share.
sharing, exactly,
Right.
yes.
I believe that is something
That's
that
going to be definitely
always
the
being
key.
taught to me as well. Definitely, definitely. And the next question coming from our viewer from Soumya, I guess. Cheers to the Red Hatters at this point of time. So Soumya has just put down a question, sir. What, according to you, what is the most challenging part in managing the team, especially when your team is full of diverse and talented people?
Yeah. That's another good question, Soumya. Thanks for putting that up. Leadership is all about how you take and go along with your team, right? So
Mhm.
it's always going to be like a very diverse team, and diversity and inclusion is one of the most important thing that's been looked at in the industry today. Whether it be Red Hat or whether it be any other company, diversity is definitely is what you brings in. And I
Mhm.
think when you work for a department like Middleware that I am part of, like it's going to be even much more diverse in terms of so many different skill sets. And why I say that is like let's say if you're part of a single product software team, for example, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, let's say about like it's a single product team, right? What you need is a fixed set of technical skills and a variety of different things that you look at, and then that your whole team is around those skills and everything. But when I joined myself into middleware, I never realized that it's going to be such big thing. That middleware is just not a single product. It's a portfolio of products,
Yes.
which means that there are so many different products, so many different projects, so many different skill sets, so many different programming languages, and variety of different stuff that we keep doing, right? So
Yes.
keeping a tab on that and keeping yourself really busy and understanding what's happening and what you're doing around that and what your team is doing around that is really like going to be very challenging, but what I find myself in this last 2.5 years that I've been managing this diverse team set in middleware and Red Hat is like the connect, right? What you really need to have is the connect with your team members. And that's where like we have been working as a team, that collaboration, sitting and working along with your team. I've never felt or given my team make my team felt that like I'm not part of the team, or like I'm a manager for their team, right? I've not kept that distance. Always making them feel that I am with them is what helped me manage this so much of a diverse talented pool, right?
Right.
So
Right.
that's the key, I think. Like a lot of time you see that like managers do not get connected to the team, and that's where that distance start getting more and more, and managing people become really difficult at that point in time. So although
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean like the team has been growing a lot, and then that becomes challenging, but yes, connection and collaboration is really the key there, that has helped me manage that challenges.
Absolutely, absolutely. I guess we are talking about the team, and I guess one of your team member who actually showed us that when you reached out to him, how he was motivated to join Red Hat, Shamsher, and I believe he has done a great session talking about Istio, and we are so excited to learn, and so all the others as well. You just talked about, sir, about the journey. We want to hear a lot about it. That how was your journey building the teams with the different skills and mindset? And if I'm not wrong, when you were building this middleware team, there were only one or two associates, and now today we have the whole bunch of diversified people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think building a teams is something that is what I can say is sort of now becoming my core competency in a way.
Yes.
becoming a leader, managing a team in itself is like, something that is a set of competences, within the leadership that you need to have to get there, right? But, again, building teams is altogether something different. And believe me, it's very, very challenging. Especially when you work for again, so much diverse skill set that you need to be looking at, and like, what you need to be doing and how you make those decisions are really important. So it has been a difficult journey for sure, Shamshar. Like, what I can say is, I have again collaborated a lot with, so many different people, and I've, studied so many different things. Is like, and come to a conclusion, right? What you need is bring in the right talent who are having the right attitude,
Right, right,
right?
right.
So I have learned one thing, that when you're building a team, it's not about just hiring someone who is really talented in terms of technology, and then make sure you are doing a great job there, right? But one wrong person on your team might screw up everything that you're trying to build this team. So you will have your own set of challenges and commitments and everything that you want to do. So when I started this middleware team, or like, I've done similar to team buildings, in my past, in my career, within Red Hat once, and without before Red Hat, in my career and in my job with Oracle, I've been doing this a lot, is what I can say. So in my journey, what I've done is basically I've looked at what is going to be really a success for me if I am to be building a team, right?
Right, right, right.
So I've
And I
thought
guess,
a lot about it, and one of the things that I really learned, and I came to a conclusion, is what is success to me when I'm building a team is not just hiring and having people come on board and start contributing to the product that you're looking for, right? For what skill set that you have hired them for.
yeah,
But really, to me, the success is like, even after that, you sustaining that team for at least next to 2 3 years, which means
yes, yes,
having your team retain with you, and maintain, not having any attrition on the team. That is really going to be a key success, because if you have some people join you and then leave and go in 3 months, then you're not successfully building a team, right? And that's where what you need is really, right attitude for people, to see if they can, fit into our culture and stay longer into our, in our
yeah,
culture. So luckily,
definitely.
touch wood, that's where my journey with the building teams has been really looking at people's attitude rather than more being stronger on the skill set side, and that has really helped me. I'm so glad to have my team on board with me, and yeah, it's really going well. So touch wood again.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Definitely, sir. Means what a great thought that being competent in building the team is also a skill set that everybody should be knowing, because it's not always about hiring the people, it's all about sustaining that team and building them
Exactly.
to their best. Imran, sir, if I'll take you a road back and like people, I want to take a pause on your questions, and I have a very curious question. Sir, if I take you back to September 2006, when you got hired for Oracle as a technical support engineer, you slowly and gradually started working in the support part, and then you become a team lead, then you become an IT manager. You served that organization for a quite long time, and then when you joined Red Hat in November 2016, so close to like 4 years as of now. But
Yeah.
what was your mindset when you joined Red Hat? What was going back in your mind that now you're going to join Red Hat, and how does that feel?
Yeah, honestly, when I started my career, it was a very small startup that I started, right before Red Hat, and I was just there for a few months, I believe, and then, I was at a stage where, I had to choose between two offers that I hold back in 2006. One was really coming from, a proprietary company like Oracle, and then the second one was from a really, emerging open source company like Google. So
Oh.
it was a tough choice back then. Again, as I said, like 15 years back, open source was, yes, a thing out there, but definitely not something a lot of people would recommend you. And as I said,
Mhm.
I came from a very small town, and open source and everything was really really new to me. And like I went and listened to so many people what everyone had to say, and trust me, nobody said me that. open source is going to succeed, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but that was not the right thing that they said me back then. But people's thought was that. So I listened to my seniors, I listened to my friends, and I decided not to choose Google and went to Oracle. Right? Joining Oracle, I never regretted joining them because I've learned a lot. Because in your initial career, getting into a company like Oracle, which is so mature even back then, so highly process oriented and everything, like I have learned a lot in my 11 years with Oracle. And I think today
Right.
what I am, that is definitely my base. you know
Yes.
Whether it be my individual contributions or whether it be my career start with into management, it's everything that as a base comes from my Oracle days, that I've learned so much from so many different people in Oracle as well. So
Right. Right.
of course, like I always thought that probably I should not stick within Oracle much more longer, but it was again a very great company is what I can say. I have always enjoyed, I've always learned so many things. But then after a decade, when I entered into my 11th year, I already started thinking like am I not limiting myself only to this world of Oracle?
Yes.
Right, but that by then open source and so many different things out there were really in so boom. And like
Right.
I have started realizing that probably if I would have joined Google today, I would have been even in a much better place, and with variety of different things. So I saw that decade being in the industry myself, how things change with open source and everything. So when I was starting to look for a change, I thought probably my next job should be into a company which is based on open source products.
Oh, great thought. And I guess we are glad to have you as a mentor and as a guide. And we are so blessed that you had that
Yeah.
thought in 2016 and you joined Red Hat.
Yeah, and I'm so
Awesome, sir.
glad, that
Mhm.
like I can say really, I can I can't thank God enough. Like I mean, when I wanted to come into the open source world and see what it really means, I was
Mhm.
lucky enough to get a job into the leaders of open source and be part of Red Hat.
Yes. Definitely, we all are proud of Red Hat, and cheers to Red Hat people and to all the others. So just
Sure.
have a like cheers OP to Red Hat for sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
coming back to our viewers' question, Harsh has put down a question, sir. What key things you see in one's resume, and if it is a project, then which type of like based on the new technologies which will be given preference, or how you basically shortlist the resumes? Oh, very much
Yeah.
tricky question.
Uh, honestly speaking, Ash, honestly speaking, what I start looking at is like, I really don't go by the resume, right? Because there are so many different types of people and so many different, companies that you go out. So what happens is really like, let's say today you gave your resume to a company, and then you realize at the end of your interview stage that, oh yeah, maybe this company did not like me having a 5-page resume, right? Where I've given each and every detail of my
Mhm,
technical project details, skill sets, and everything. Because some people really like only one single page resume, and they're
mhm.
like looking discussions. So people have so many different multiple mindsets that everyone has a different format of resume, and they don't know where and how to share what kind of a resume, right?
Right.
And that's a small drawback is what I feel in today's youngsters or even experienced people in our country. We don't stick to one thing. We go with one company, we see one thing, and based on that, we take that as a feedback and go to the next company based on that. Probably the next company is not really the same,
Mhm.
right? So
Right.
my take on resumes has always been like, look at if there is some key technologies that I'm looking for is mentioned on it or not, to do the first level of filtration. If I am looking for a JavaScript developer and if the resume doesn't talk anything about JavaScript, then definitely that's not a take on me, right? I'm not going to pick that up. But let's say if I see yes, there is a single mention of JavaScript, I pick up that resume and I say, let me talk to this candidate.
Right.
Irrespective
Right.
of they've given details about their projects, irrespective of they've mentioned enough details about what they've been doing to that project, it's a single page, multi-page resume. I don't care. I just see that yes, what I'm looking for a specific skill set is on the resume, and that's where I start
Right.
with. I do that initial discussion with the candidate myself to understand, what really they're doing into that technology, what experience they hold, what kind of things they've done. Because talking in person, whether it be a video conferencing interview or whether it be an in person, you get to know a lot more than reading a resume.
Right. And I believe
So
that's
that's
the
my
right
take on picking up a
saying.
resume.
No, definitely. I always keep on saying to all the students who interacts with me that it's not, it doesn't matter that you have 1 page resume or like 15-page resume. The only thing matter is that the position you are applying, what the skill sets at demand, and you have written those things into that or not. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe Harsh, you got
yeah.
the
Like,
point. Mhm.
yeah, for example, one more, or just a quick example, Gaurav, to share, where people can get more context to it. Like, let's say if somebody is looking for, when somebody is saying the requirements that
Mhm.
5 years of so and so experience is what they're looking for this role, right? So
Mhm.
they, sometimes people really look at, like, if your 5 years of experience on resume is showing up that particular technology or not. So to
Right.
me, whether you work 4 years or 5 years or 6 years into a particular technology doesn't really, give me your seniority or your maturity into your technology. To me, what I
Right.
feel is, the way I state is, I need somebody with solid experience in this technology.
Right.
And
Right.
that solid state is something that, one can achieve in 3 years, one can achieve in 5 years. Every individual is
Absolutely.
different, right? So I
Absolutely.
look at a solid state, and that's the base to start my interview for a technology, right? And not look at, oh yeah, I'm looking for 4 years of experience in this technology, so I'll not even touch the resume who is coming with 3 years of experience in that. I
Awesome.
might be
Awesome.
sometimes really missing out on great talents if I do that, is what I feel.
Surely and surely, I agree to those points, and I believe that is again a learning to me as well, and for all the viewers. Jumping on to another question coming, which I can see very interestingly from every single session, and Anamika has put it down question, sir, for you. Is there any requirement of Red Hat certifications to join Red Hat? Does certification add as a bonus to the recruitment process? What's your take on that?
Yeah. Yeah, so two pieces to this is, certification value, and really what jobs look at if having a certification or not, right? So talking first about the value of certification, I think Red Hat certifications in general hold a very, very, very high value, and the certifications stand really out in the industry because the kind of certification exams that Red Hat does is really
Mm.
all hands-on experience, and why they're really valued is because if you happen to clear a certification exam proving your real skill set, which means you have proved yourself, not just answering theoretical questions, but you have performed practically and proved what you have learned into that particular technology, and that's why we certify you for that technology. So having a certification is definitely a stamp on yourself saying that from Red Hat that you are definitely having the skill set. So a lot of companies, for sure, when they're looking for a skill set, let's say if they're looking for a system administrator with, someone on OpenShift, let's say OpenShift administrator, for example, right? So if you have a certification, then a lot of company thinks that if someone has done a certification, then definitely they do have some minimum knowledge at least to start with in this administration. So that's like
Mhm.
a more weightage definitely that gives you you and your resume for sure. But then getting into Red Hat for a given job, there are different cases, there are different situations and different variety of stuff that people come into and different factors that affect the hiring. Some jobs require you to be having a certification already for a technology that you're getting into. Some jobs really don't. So it
Mhm.
all depends the way you target. So if you look at our product support teams, we definitely make sure, like we have people coming in as a priority. What we look at is people having a certification, right? So as I said, we give them as a weightage. If somebody is already certified, they would be on the top of the list, but it doesn't mean
Right.
that we are losing out on people who are not having certification, right? What we do is
Right.
also look for people who comes with without certification, and then give them an opportunity to get certified on that. So it all really depends. Some teams has a core hardcore requirement to have people certified because of a lot of different factors behind it. So those roles had
Yes.
to be like that, and can't help in that.
Then again, I believe what rightly I understood is that look out for the job description, right?
Yes.
Because that really
Yeah.
matters. And definitely, Red Hat certification help us in identifying that the person who is coming out with that certification definitely has some practical knowledge around that subject as well. So it is easy to train them and it is easy to get on. Okay, let me take a pause, Imran sir. So we know that you
Sure.
have
Yeah.
been like in IT, and you being a manager, you deal with a lot of like other people with different mindset. apart from work, how you love to spend time on your weekends whenever you get some free time for sure.
Yeah, so I've been, a hardcore foodie for sure, and I definitely like to two things. I know is what I can say apart from food. One is cars, and
Yes.
others is like really on the technology, like whether it be smartphones or it could be smart watches and all that stuff. Like I really like to
Yes.
be on top of the gadgets for sure. So three
Yes.
things, right? And foodie for sure. I've been a guy like trying everything out there, different new restaurants or different variety of food, and people who know me really can like be laughing and telling me yes, this is something that I really like. So that has been
Yes.
the thing, and yeah, over the period of time, I've also grown up my family, and my kids have been growing. So I've been also trying to spend some time, especially with this lockdown. I've learned so many different things that kids in my family need me as well. To be frank, I'm not been that great of a family person to be, honest. But yes, I've learned that it's equally important to be a family person. So I always try, my best to see if I can give enough time to my family on the weekends as well.
Yes, yes, and I believe we have spoiled a lot of quite a good amount of your time on weekends, because whenever I am there in Bangalore, and I used to come over always to your place, and trust me, people, Imran sir suggests a very good food locations, and I've been like in and out with him over the weekends, and he take us to the different restaurants, whether it is like you talk about Arabian, you talk about Italian, or if you talk about rolls, wraps. I have been enjoying those food companies as well, and definitely Imran sir is a very gadget freak person, because he always guide us. Look, this feature is new. Look, this feature is new, and if he gets to know, he is always on back onto it. Definitely awesome, sir. And I guess that is what I have always learned in this. I actually also learned the family values during this lockdown, because they are the first one to go when you are down. Awesome. So I guess similar
Absolutely.
questions coming out from Rudra, and he says that being manager, how to deal when you are burnout, because we as a software engineers think that we have a lot of things to do, but you are the managing the entire team. So how you make yourself calm in such a situation?
Yeah, I mean, I keep practicing a lot of different things, Rudra, for that matter. One of the most important and something that really works out to me is what I feel is like, when you are either frustrated or you're feeling yourself really burned out, right? Simply put down everything that you've been doing and, start walking and count 100 steps.
Mhm.
Just focus
Right,
and
right.
count 100 steps and like take those 100 steps, and I'm sure like after those 100 steps, after you count your 100 steps, your frustration level, your burnout level, and your mind itself, like because what it needs is like why that frustration and why that burnout is really because your mind has gone to that you've seen your computers the way they work, right? What you really do is you put a lot of load and you see so much of high utilization on your CPU, high utilization on your memory. What you do is you start killing processes. You start closing out
Right.
applications, right? One by one to bring that level down. So it's exactly the same way that our minds work. Your mind is
Mhm.
fully loaded with stress and so many processes, so many things going on in your mind. That's why your frustration level and your what do you say burnout is coming up there. And at the moment, if you stop everything, it's like killing all the processes that is running on your mind. And how you switch your mind is like how you kill all those processes, simply switch it to something totally different. And the focus should go so much that when you start counting 1 to 100 your steps, which means
Mhm.
your mind now is totally focused, and bring this count on top of everything in the mind. So
Right.
everything goes down, and then that's why your utilization of mind comes down. So counting 1 to 10 is 1 to 100 is for someone like at our age is like oh, that's a piece of a cake, right? Counting 1 to 100, you walk and take those 100 steps. By that time, I'm sure like your burnout levels and your frustration
Awesome.
will definitely come down. And another thing
What
that
a
I have
wonderful.
really been practicing is power naps.
Seriously, sir?
15 minutes of a power
I
nap. Like, if you really feel anything is not working out, simply leave everything aside, close your eyes. It doesn't really mean that you sleep. The power nap is just closing your eyes and lying down for 15 minutes.
Okay. We haven't seen, but
That really
definitely, I guess that
helps.
1 to 100 count, I guess that is something that I'm also going to practice a lot. And I believe all the viewers, this is a very, very interesting tip. I'm also hearing for the first time that you just go around a walk, count 1 to 100. What a nice way to distract from all the negative energy that was surrounding you and getting back to your
Exactly.
basics again. Okay, awesome, sir. Thank you so much for that insight. And I guess while I was going through the question, Shamsher has put out a question which I was about to ask you also, that Imran, how open source Red Hat has changed your mindset and life in general?
Okay, a good question. Thank you, Samshir, for that question out there.
Mhm.
So let me see how can I put that together as an answer there. You know, back then, before I joined Red Hat, right? I've been with a company which is a proprietary company, right? So it
Mhm.
has been only all talking about proprietary stuff, and that's where, like, having top to bottom approach of management and all that is what I've learned.
Mhm.
When I moved into Red Hat and open source and everything, I started looking into it. I think two things is what importantly of that I've learned, which really brings out a lot of innovation is, like, keeping yourself open-minded
Mhm.
and willing to collaborate and listen to others' ideas and apply others' thoughts if you think they're the best.
Right,
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 giving
right.
away your thoughts and your benefits. So believe me, this is what I've always seen in the open source culture, because, like, in the community also there's like so many brightest minds coming together, and really what goes up is, what is the best out there, right? It doesn't really
Right.
mean, like, if it is coming from Shamsher or Gaurav or Imran or anybody in the community, right? If there is
Mhm.
anybody even is a fresher or she's a fresher, then it is definitely, if it's a valuable thought, then that goes up. So that's like really what you see is, like, be open to listening to people, and look at what different people bring in onto the table, and then be in the mode to be accepting those, even if somebody is really junior to you, and if your ideas are also on the table and that not getting be selected, right? So that's one thing, what I've seen is really happening in the open source world and in within Red Hat, and that has really been, something that has been helping myself practicing in my personal life as well, as what I've seen. Like,
Right.
having an open mindset when you talk to people in your personal life in general will
Mhm.
help you sort out so many different things as well.
Right, right, right. Being open is always important, sir. And I guess that's the reason. Sometime or the other, everybody needs someone to talk, and that how you keep
Yes.
practicing it, and every single problem can vanish out of that. Awesome. So thank you so much for that
Yeah.
insight. I guess another question coming from Priyanjali. She says that everyone has a mentor in their life. So can you share your story about your mentor? Because a good mentor always leads you to be a better future.
Absolutely, and I know definitely, that's really well said. If you are succeeding, you will definitely have a mentor, and, like, if you really have a good mentor, you succeed and you become really a good one, in that side. So I can
Mhm.
really take just one name for sure. I back then in my Oracle days, when I was even hesitant to get into the management world, right? Because I was really not sure how that world is going to look like. I always wanted to be on the technology side and be a technology person, an individual contributor as such. But situations came in a way, and somebody really put me into a spot, and gave me a position to start doing team leadership. I was although not so much interested, because my manager back then, or anybody who has been mentoring me or guiding me in general, has really not been telling me the value proposition of being a leader, right?
Mhm.
So I was really skeptical about that point, because I had no other option. I had to take that up. I had taken up, but, like, I was not growing my passion into that area. But then, I decided to switch my teams in Red Hat because I found some exciting opportunity within Oracle back then. So I
Mhm.
happened to meet a lady called Christine Saros, who is based out of US, and she was my immediate manager into that new team. and she has been such a wonderful mentor for me. Even though today it's been like more than 4 years that I've left Oracle and I've been part of Red Hat, we are still in touch, and she has still been my mentor for such a long time.
Awesome.
And she is not just gem of a person, but a solid leader, is what I can say. If you can see some really good things, and if you appreciate something good about my leadership as a manager, or anything that I do as a manager for this team, then is what I can say is it's all that I've learned from my mentor Christine.
Awesome.
How to be really a good leader. So she's been my mentor, Priyanjali, for that matter.
Thank you so much for that answer. And I guess you have just talked about the switching the roles from technical to management, and management going ahead with the technical profiles. Parul has put down a question for you that suppose in future, if someone gives you the option to choose one profile between management and technical, which one would you prefer?
I think I would definitely stick to be like no second thought there. I would like to be sticking with the management because I think I've come far beyond into this, in my last 8 years into my leadership roles, and I think there is much more into this world that I can even do far. So I would definitely like to be here, and then I would definitely choose management roles to be for sure.
यस, सही। एंड आई गेस सर, मेरे को लगता भी है हमें डेफिनेटली आप जैसे लीडर्स की रिक्वायरमेंट है, आपके जैसे मैनेजर्स की रिक्वायरमेंट है, हु हैज़ अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स लाइक स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम अ टेक्निकल सपोर्ट engineer and today leading the entire team of middleware. I guess definitely we require your guidance, your mentorship at some point of time in life. So thank you so much for all those
Absolutely.
things. Coming back to the mentor part, Tejasni has put down a question that who is your go-to person when you seek some guidance?
Yeah, so definitely, as I said, one of the mentors that I always believe in, and I try to reach out for everything, irrespective of what it is, a professional life situation, or if any guidance or any thought that I'm seeking to, definitely my mentor Christine Saros is someone who I definitely discuss with. But then sometimes situations are really different. When you really need to talk to a specific person who is good into that particular area, the subject area that we are talking about. So there have been multiple people that I have been trusting upon, and looking to reach out to if I need into any specific areas. So there are different go-to peoples that I have in my life. But for in general, if you talk about, then definitely that's my mentor, Christian Saras.
Right, definitely. And I guess for us, you have always been a right mentor for me, and thank you for that. Always for giving us the right
My
and
pleasure.
valuable advices. So,
My
are you
pleasure.
a person who loves to read book as well? What do you think?
Not really so much, not like I'm what you say, a hardcore book reader, right?
Hmm.
Someone like, who reads continuously novels or this kind of a book, that kind of book. But yes, I do keep reading short reads, like, whether it could be a book, like, not sit in a stretch of 1 month completing a book, right? Complete book. But I try to take out like, maybe an hour or so, even in a week or something like that, once in a while I keep looking into some short reads here and there, for something interesting.
Right, right, right. Because I have always seen that the people who want to follow the leadership, they reads a lot because sometimes seeing the other person's perspective to the situations has always given like a lot of helps to you. That yes, what they are
Yes.
been doing in that way and how you would react, they're different, creating a positive mindsets and around the different situations always when you hear the experience of others. So I
Yeah.
believe yes, giving the short reads are always equally important. Rishabh has
Yeah.
put it down a question, sir, that where do you
Yeah.
see Red Hat in year 2025 with such an amazing portfolio of leading enterprise products?
Great question, Rishabh. So I definitely believe and trust into Red Hat and its strategy and in everything else. So I can certainly see Red Hat being the leaders out there in the open hybrid cloud world, for sure.
Yes. And we are the leader, and we'll keep on following the same open source contributions for sure. And I guess when we are talking about the open source, I believe that you are also encountering a lot of freshers out there. And Sudarshana has put down another question for you, like, if a fresher wants to get started with Red Hat, what are the technologies she should focus on and start learning, considering there are so many technologies out there?
Yeah. So as I said, Sudesh, I mean, technology should not be a constraint to you, or technology should not be limited to the company that you are joining, right? As we have been talking along, Red Hat is a portfolio of products company. It is to be traditionally only a enterprise Linux company, but today we have so many different products and projects that we run, which means we use almost every different technology that is available in the world, right? So
Right.
we look for people with all those different skill sets. So there is nothing limited, is what I can say. We in Red Hat, there are different teams would be hiring for so many different variety of skill set. Uh, this was one of a very specific topic. If you remember, Gaurav, we discussed on here in our previous discussion, when we did. So
Yes.
what I have always been recommending people is do not just go by the company that you want to join and what is in a high demand in that company, right? Look at what you are really passionate about and what you want to do and what skill set or technology that you want to pursue, because
Yes.
that's going to be the key for yourself. Because if you get into what you desire and what you have been always passionate about is something that you are going to be successful in, right? Unless there is a hardcore requirement that you want to get into a very specific thing and then you do not have you're not passionate about it, then try and learn that and get in there, but definitely make sure you get passionate about it, just so that you are successful in that. Because
Right,
if you
right,
do
right.
something that you do not like just for the sake, if you are really a JavaScript person, and then there are a lot of requirements going on in Red Hat, that are only Java specific. So
Yes.
I mean, my recommendation would not be to look for learning Java and getting there unless you really are passionate even about Java.
Yes. And I believe we have taken a lot of time of yours, but just couple of minutes for more. And
Mhm.
people, please, like, if we are not able to answer any of your question, please leave a comment in the comment section of this video, or like Imran sir's LinkedIn ID is also tagged. He is quite active on LinkedIn, so please go and connect with him, post down your queries, wait for like the time to get him back. So, Imran sir, towards the end, I want to ask you one thing that nowadays, I mean, the young talent who is out there to step into the enterprise world, they have a lot of role models or idols around, and they kill their passion to follow somebody else's life, means the footstep they have taken to reach out. What is the piece of advice you want to give it to them? Means you just rightly said that if you are not passionate about the technology and just for the sake to get into that organization, you just start learning it. So what is that piece of advice
Yeah.
you want to give to all the people who just take the road which is being taken care by someone, and your advice on that, please?
Yeah, I think my advice has always been the same for everyone. What I say is always do something that you believe in, and take that route. Because if you believe in yourself, if you believe in what you do, the success will definitely come to you. It's not like you're not going to find a job or anything because you've chosen something, a technology skill set, right? That is not so much in boom. But believe me, when you keep patience, patience is another key thing out there, right? Do not lose your patience, because it is really easy to lose patience and lose concentration on what you have been doing. So be patient and keep doing what you have been doing, and then definitely one fine day you will find your idle job into the passionate technology that you are always been passionate about, right?
Right, right.
So
Very well
that's
said.
where just be passionate and just be focused on that. Do not lose your focus, is what I can say. And there are going to be
Yes.
a lot of distractors around it, because there's so many different news coming out there on LinkedIn. This technology is in the boom, that skill set is in the boom. Do not go into the flow of the trend of the industry, right? One thing that is constant in industry is definitely changing technology. So
Mhm.
another advice is would be like, be open to learn. To start with, be passionate about one thing, and be yourself. Make yourself so strong or so solid into that area. But then definitely be open to explore and learn new things as you grow into your career, is what I can say.
Right. Right, right. Thank you so much, sir. So, last question coming to you, and after that, we will announce some of the lucky winners for the goodies.
Mhm.
Before that, I want you to give some piece of advice to all of us that if we
Mhm.
want to step into the management role, or if we want to start our journey, if we want to kickstart our journey into the enterprise world, or being like in the learning phase, because I personally see always myself as a active learner, that I want to learn something. So, any piece of advice that you want to give to all of us before you step out of the stream?
Yeah, so I think about leadership again, Gaurav, like it's always been a single advice that I've been telling, right? Convert yourself looking from me to we, which means it's a mindset change, in my opinion, where you have to take that paradigm shift, right? Just thinking about yourself and what you do, to about what you can do together as a team, is what leadership is all about. So once you put your mindset into that shift, you can definitely be a good leader, is what I can say.
I guess you have just rightly said me to we, and the entire mindset changes, and there you are to
Yes.
change the entire world. Thank you so much, Imran sir,
Yes.
for your valuable advice. And as rightly people are saying in the comments section, talking about Soumya or Parul and anyone, that your journey is really inspiring. And I don't know how much I deserve to be getting that thanks, but all thanks to you and your entire team for being so open to accept the invitation when I reached out to you, and you gave me this opportunity to present such an amazing portfolio that we have at Red Hat, to give all the like valuable advices that your team bring as an expertise. So thank you so much, Imran sir. Now, can you please give us some of the lucky winners for our goodies dispatch?
Yep, sure. So if you want me to pick one, I think the very first question that I got was really a great question. I think I'm just going to scroll up and see if that was into the comment section. Uh,
Mhm.
uh, uh,
From Rishabh
uh,
Prasad, I guess, or somebody else.
yeah, I think that is Mutaya. So I'm going to
Okay.
call out on Mutaya.
Okay, for
That was a
sure,
very
for
good
his
question.
question. Awesome.
Yeah,
So, Muthaiya, please connect me offline, connect me over on LinkedIn, Twitter, or I should say Instagram. Just drop me a text and I'll be there to pick up some of the things. But, sir, as you are here and we are doing this giveaway, can you please also pick one more for our viewers?
sure. I think the second good question that I saw there out was I think from Harsh.
Okay.
Looking out in resume, what you look at in resume, right? So because I think this might definitely help out is what I thought, because that was a great question, because no one really asked that what a manager or somebody looks into a resume. So we
Yes.
talked about so many things that could have been helpful. So I think I would pick on that one.
Awesome. So
All
I
right,
guess Harsh
Sarsh.
is that lucky bonanza winner, and I'm thankful to two specific person also. One is Harsh, who have been in my team to design the entire thumbnails for your team, and second is Priyanjali, who bring down this Avengers theme poster for your session as well. So thank you
Great,
so much.
awesome.
Yeah. So Harsh, please do reach out to me back again for some of the exciting goodies awaiting for you as well. Now, thank you so much, Imran sir. We are end of you. We know that we have borrowed your Sundays evening time with the family, but as we say that you are always being our family, being my guide, my mentor to you. And thank you so much, sir, always to give us such an amazing advices and right mentorship for me. Thank you so much.
I'm glad to be here, Gaurav, and really thank you, for inviting me and being part of this community and this group today.
Mhm.
While talking about weekend, I would say it was time well spent. And if really people can, grab and take away things out of this session, then I think it was really very, very, very well spent time on a
No,
weekend. So I'm
definitely.
more than
So,
happy,
guys,
to answer anybody's questions, anything out in the comments, or reach out to me or tag me and leave a message to me. and more than happy.
Yes.
Yes, it might not be so immediate, but I will try my best to see what I can, to do to answer your questions and reply to your comments wherever
Right,
possible.
right, right. Thank you so much, sir. And I believe the last piece of advice that you can give to all that to subscribe to my channel as well, please.
Absolutely, absolutely. Why not? I think
No.
this is one of the very well growing channel, and especially what I like is the cause. The intent behind your channel, Gaurav. The kind of knowledge sharing, because we already talked about knowledge sharing. So what I
Yes.
see is what we're doing through this channel is really, really, sharing our knowledge, right? What I did today is like I shared some of my knowledge. What my team members did, in the past week is really they shared their own knowledge, their experiences. So
Yes.
sharing is growing, as we always talk about. So cheers to Gaurav, for your channel. And I think please do subscribe and hit that like button there, and then be part of this channel.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And that was up to all the viewers. Guys, this is something that I have scripted in such a way that, yes, Imran sir would be saying to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and share to all the viewers out there. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. It was pleasure talking to you. It's always a pleasure talking to you and seeking the advice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Same here, Gaurav, and thank you everyone for being part of this discussion today. Really appreciate your time on the weekend evening. Yep. As always, have a
Thank
good evening, and we'll catch up soon if time and
you. Okay,
situation allows. Yep.
for sure. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so for all the viewers out there, I believe what an end to day 7 of a day in a software engineer's life. I want to take an opportunity to thank all of our wonderful speakers throughout all the 7 days. And I should say, we are not going to stop here. The team CWG is always committed to help all of you in the best way and the best possible way we can. Moreover, I just want to end up our session today by the quote from Henry Ford, which says that when everything seems to be going against you, just remember one thing, that airplane take off against the wind, not with it. So, most important, always learn and always share, be open. And as rightly Imran sir says, that open mindset is something that is always going to help you. I'll see you on another exciting session. Please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And always, it's a pleasure. And thanks to you, thanks to my entire team for motivating me to bring such an amazing series of session for you all. I'll see you in another exciting session lined up. Please like, share, and subscribe. And moreover, press that bell icon so whenever I upload a new session, whenever we are going to get live, you always being notified. So, cheers. Thank you so much. It was an amazing,